now except us, until now. This is the first key step toward moving our entire freight, transportation, and logistical supply chain nationwide to a 24/7 system. And here's why it matters. Traditionally, our ports have only been open during the week, Monday through Friday, and they're generally closed down at nights and on weekends. By staying open 7 days a week through the night and on the weekends, the Port of Los Angeles will open over 60 extra hours a week.
Well, first, the president is very focused on this. He has asked his team about it. There are a number of people, senior members of the White House team from the NSC, from the NEC, working on this issue every single day. I would say that part is a supply issue, which is why you asked me about OPEC and something we continue to press them on. But part is also a logistics issue of being able to move supply around the country. And that's something that we're also looking into options on. I know you didn't ask me about this, but I'm just going to also convey, because sometimes they're combined, the gas issue as well as the natural gas issue, which is something that we've seen, people in the Northeast have understandable concerns about what that may look like for them. And I would just note, and we haven't talked about this a lot, so I wanted to raise it, that LIHEAP funding, coverage of LIHEAP funding, is in the American Rescue Plan. And that is something that we have been communicating with a number of states and leaders about, and their ability to access that funding, which is the low-income heating program I think many of you are familiar with, to help prepare for any increase in costs. But we're working on both the supply issue and the logistics issue and looking at a range of options.
I am tired of the generalities, hearing what Mr. Manchin and frankly Ms. Sinema are saying. And if they want to negotiate, let's negotiate. But when you got the overwhelming majority of the American people, the overwhelming majority of the Democratic House and Senate caucus, when you got the President of the United States, it's not a 50-50 deal. Mr. Manchin deserves to be heard. He deserves to get some compromises, but it is wrong for one or two people to think that they can dictate the outcome of this process. And I'm going to continue to fight, as I have for working families, and do my best to prevent this country from moving in an authoritarian direction, because you got so many people out there. They're working long hours for lower wages. Their kids are going nowhere in a hurry. They can't take care of their parents. And they are saying, does the United States government care about me, or are they only worried about their campaign contributions from wealthy individuals? So this is not only trying to improve life for working families who are really struggling to keep their ends together. It is whether or not we retain a democracy in which government works for all and not just the.
So fourth round of stimulus payments and a federal unemployment boost could be passed in a new bill due to budget reconciliation process. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi scolded the press, insisting that journalists should do a better job of selling President Biden's $3.5 trillion spending bill to the public. House Democrats have also put down their marker in the debate over how to cut costs from President Biden's sprawling economic plan. Top Congressional Progressive Caucus members urged Nancy Pelosi to keep all of the programs in the package intact. They propose cutting the duration of the programs in order to reduce the spending. Top Democrats are deciding whether to make policies last for fewer years or scrap programs entirely in order to slash the plan's price tag to appease centrists. 27 lawmakers, led by Congressional Progressive Caucus Chair Pramila Jayapal, wrote to Nancy Pelosi, If given a choice between legislating narrowly or broadly, we strongly encourage you to choose the latter and make robust investments over a shorter window. The representatives added that they believe setting up temporary programs will establish a track record of success that will pave the way for a long-term extension of benefits. Democrats are also locked in talks over how to structure the massive investment in the Social Safety Net plan and climate programs. They aim to pass the plan along with a bipartisan infrastructure bill already approved by the Senate before the end of the month. While Democrats have not agreed to a final price tag, it can end up at around $2 trillion less, down from $3.5 trillion. Party leaders aim to win over centrist Senator Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, who could sink the proposal on their own, as Democrats try to pass it without Republican votes. As proposed now, the plan will make child care more affordable, expand paid leave, and lower the Medicare eligibility age while adding dental, vision, and hearing coverage. It would extend the enhanced child tax credit, create universal pre-K, and make 2 years of community college free. It would also encourage green energy adoption in the construction of weather-resilient buildings. Democratic House members have offered a range of views on how to trim costs from the plan. In a letter to her caucus, Pelosi suggested that many Democrats would rather scrap some programs entirely in order to keep others untouched. Now, Pramila Jayapal maintains that childcare, Medicare expansion, and climate change must be remaining in the slimmed-down social spending bill. Jayapal told CBS News those 5 priorities still need to be in any final bill. You can significantly cut down the price tag by funding some of these programs for a shorter period of time. It is, as you know, a bit of a messy process. I don't think we're in disarray. I don't think we're in drift. I think we're about delivering, and this will happen. We will get it done. Jayapal says she's open to means testing social spending bill programs and sees it as an area of agreement and unity between moderates and progressives if they can agree on an approach. The filibuster has also been a topic of discussion on Capitol Hill, as Jayapal and other progressives have pushed to abolish the Senate cloture rule, which requires 60 votes in debates on topics and move to a final passage vote.
Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. We have some breaking news from Nancy Pelosi, President Biden, and even Chuck Schumer about the 4th stimulus check that could be sent out before the end of the year. So if you want to stay up to date on the latest stimulus check information, be sure to stay until the end of this video. As I said, everybody, we have a ton of news to go over in today's video. Here's what I want you to know, and so I'm not going to waste anybody's time. Here's the most important things that I want you to know first. Well, the White House has begun to tell government agencies to prepare for a shutdown. That's even though Jen Psaki told reporters President Biden is doing all that it takes to avoid a government shutdown. Everybody, with a lot of deadlines and much work to accomplish, it looks like the federal government is about to shut down. And the thing is that this can hold back our stimulus checks from being sent out. And of course, it can also prevent Social Security recipients from receiving monthly Social Security payments. Everybody, President Biden, Nancy Pelosi, and Chuck Schumer must avoid a government shutdown. They just came back from an August recess. And there's no need for the government to shut down, especially when Americans are still in need of financial assistance.
I think the part of what has to happen here as well, for example, let's talk about my economic plan. The economic plan, you all are always, and understandably, legitimately, citing polls. Every element of my economic plan is overwhelmingly popular.
So Janet Yellen has just announced that the government could pull back from issuing new stimulus checks. And this is bad news for our seniors. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen made headlines this week with her suggestion that the government checks could run dry if Congress doesn't raise that ceiling. Janet Yellen added that nearly 50 million seniors could stop receiving Social Security checks for a time. And the House of Representatives has passed a bill to temporarily fund the government and suspend the debt limit. However, that legislation could fail in the Senate. If lawmakers cannot come to an agreement, the government would shut down on October 1st. Social Security beneficiaries may breathe a sigh of relief to know that the program's funds will still be there to pay their checks.
I've been coming to this memorial for 40 years, missed a couple, but, and I've spoken at too many police memorials.